We are at the point in Trackmania now where 16 out of 16 players in the most prestigious tournament, the Trackmania Grand League, feels like they have to release an open letter where all of the players have signed under in a chance of getting heard and hope that the playoff system will be changed. My name is Eirik Holdal. I cover Trackmania news and have done this for the last 2 years, but it's safe to say I haven't covered a story like this where all of the players are displeased with the tournament organization, that being Ubisoft Nadeo. First of all, I will go through the rulebook that was released yesterday, then I will go through the letter by the players themselves, and then I will recap with my own opinion at the end of it. So, the rulebook was released yesterday. Some would say it should have been released earlier, but anyway, we got it. Now it's to compare what is different, what is the same as compared to the winter 2020 season. One of the main differences is that this season they have returned to awarding the group stage again. They did it in the beta season, then removed it in the season 1, that being winter 2020 season, but now they have again returned to awarding the best players in the group stage, that being the 8 best players. In total, there will be 9,000 euros distributed between the top 8 players in the group stage. The playoff phase will have a little bit smaller prize pool. This season it will have 7,500 euros. The season, that being the group stage, will start September 13th and last until October 18th. It will be played out in 6 steps and then on 6 Sundays. The playoff will only take place on one day, that being November 1st, also on a Sunday. So, how is the system gonna work? How is the format gonna look like? The Trackmania Grand League has been known ever since it was announced for having a point system where you can lose points on the later maps. If you hope that that would be removed for this season, well, you're gonna be disappointed. The 2 first maps, that being called Phase 1, you will only gain points, no chance of losing any points. Then Phase 2, that being map 3 and 4, you will lose half of the points if you finish 9th to 16. In the Phase 3, that being map 6 and 5, you will again have the chance of losing every single point. So imagine you can be on map 6, finish number 9, then your overall score would be 3 points simply because you gained 3 points on that 9th place, but if you had collected 16 points on the other 5 maps, well, those 16 points are not going to be added into your total score. Then, there is something brand new for this season, it's the playoffs format. If you remember correctly, last season and the beta season had a cup mode system, the most used format in Trackmania's history. However, this season they want to try something new, they want to try something called the game mode Final. This will be a number of tracks is 5, number of lap per tracks is 2, number of rounds per track is 3. At the end of each round, the players finish first will win a point and then reach finalist status. The rest of the players, that meaning from 2 to 8, will have no point. To qualify to the next phase, a player needs to win a round while being finalist. To make it simple, you need to win 2 rounds in a row. It doesn't matter if you are 8 times second, then essentially you will be knocked out. This will be divided into 3 steps. First off, the 8 players, then 6 would advance, and then later on it will advance to 4, and then from 4 to 2. Once we get to 2 players, we enter a stage called Final 2. Again, only 2 players here, and this will then be a 1 versus 1. In this phase, the 2 players will face off against each other on a best of 3 with 1 lap on each map. The player who wins 3 maps wins the Trackmania Grand League. So, let's sum up the document sent out by the players. The introduction is simple. It says that the players has been in contact with SoftDB, who is the esport manager of Ubisoft Nadeo. They have not come to an agreement, and the opinions are too far divided between Ubisoft Nadeo and then the players themselves, so they feel like they have to release this document publicly in hope to actually get their voice being heard, and maybe they could somewhat impact the format for this season. The Trackmania Grand League players ended up picking Kappa as their representative and Spam as the other representative. Between them, they had a meeting with then SoftDB to get to hopefully a conclusion. As you can see in the document I've listed below, where you can read the letter yourself, you can see that the players, that being Kappa and Spam, summed up every meeting they had with Softy, then let the players in the Trackmania Grand League hear about it, and then the Trackmania Grand League players come up with some proposal to eventually the next meeting. But in the end, after 3 meetings, they felt that none of their proposal had not really been taken into account by Ubisoft Nadeo. In the end, we end up with a sadly short playoff system, and we don't think it can be good for the viewers or the players or even the publishers themselves, that being Ubisoft Nadeo. This document, that being the open letter, is not only our concern regarding the playoffs, but also the Trackmania Grand League in general. The 16 players also would like to criticize the infamous aspect of the league, the point loss system. Is it really an esport competition if you could win 5 maps in theory, but get nothing out of it if you get 9th on the final map? This has been criticized a lot by the public as well, but the people have found some sort of peace with it since Ubisoft Nadeo has demonstrated that a change is the absolute no-go for them. All 16 players are not agreeing with the latest playoff system introduced by Ubisoft Nadeo and demand a change in order to determine the best players of the Trackmania Grand League in a fair and proper way. Then after that you can find all the names, that being all of the players, and you can find their signature. Now, what do I make of it? What should you make of it? Well, my personal view of it is I share the view of the players. I don't know why this is a format that needs to be introduced. I don't know why we can not simply end up with the cup mode system. I felt that it works out great. There is nothing more intense than once you have 2 finalists or 3 finalists going up against each other. While now you can end up, like many of the players say, you can be lucky in some rounds and essentially you have won the whole season. So, why are Ubisoft Nadeo not listening to the players? Some say Hyllis is stubborn. Some people who has been around longer than me would say that. I would some sort of agree with that, but I also want to address that I and other people has some sort of praised him for it, because the introduction of the Trackmania Grand League in the first place were met with a lot of criticism regarding them removing away from tech to mixed style maps. I was one of the guys who was against this in the start, but that's now found peace with it, and I'm actually more and more fan of mixed styles overall. Then he said that he faced criticism, he was right, so maybe now he feels once again there is a shitstorm coming in with a lot of criticism, but maybe in the end people will find peace with this as well. There is some points that are majorly different between the introduction of the Trackmania Grand League in the first place and the introduction of this playoff system. If you recall correctly, back to the Trackmania Grand League being announced in January of 2019, some players were against it, some community members were against it, but some of the key players in Trackmania like Carl Jr., Bren, Pack, Spam, Kappa, they were on board with this. They wanted to see what Ubisoft Nadeo had to try out. They wanted to see the mixed style format before they raised their opinion about it, and eventually they liked this and they supported Ubisoft Nadeo. Now you're in a situation where 16 out of 16 players are speaking up against the game developers, that being Ubisoft Nadeo. It's a situation where nobody has the back of this playoff system nor the point loss system. So if the future of Trackmania Grand League is going to be great, I really hope that this playoff system will be changed, not simply because I personally disagree with this system, but to set an example of that you hear what the player's voice is in this competition and not that you only boost through with your own opinion. I don't know what the process is behind doors, who is the eventual last say at Ubisoft Nadeo. Is it Hyllis? Is it SoftDB? Is it someone else? Anyway, I really hope that we don't end up escalating this situation to the worst. Maybe we can end up with a situation where the players after some meeting that they probably will have now that the document is public. Maybe they end up boycotting the event, maybe they don't play it, and eventually we end up with a season that is gonna be lackluster and maybe not even starting. So the future of Trackmania Grand League is at stake here, the future of Trackmania is at stake here, but there is an easy solution to all of this, and that is to listen to the players who has played this game for 10 years and has played pretty much every single major tournament there is. Listen to them and hopefully listen to the community afterwards, and this competition will be supported and this competition will probably have a great future. As I was about to press publish on this video, there was an update I needed to take into account and I wanted to inform you about. The esport manager of Ubisoft Nadeo, that being SoftDB, announced in the Trackmania Grand League's Discord, hey, about the TMGL playoffs letter wrote by the TMGL Player Association on the 20th of August, we have informed players about our decisions regarding this letter. Those decisions will be shared publicly through an updated version of the rulebook available in the upcoming days. So, what does this mean? I don't know. Can it be that Ubisoft Nadeo has listened to the players? Do they want to change the format? Have they want to go into the public and say we actually care about the players' opinion? Or are they gonna put hard against hard and say, you voiced your opinion, now we voice our opinion, either you like this tournament or you don't play it. I don't know, but I know that I will update this situation once this rulebook is updated and published. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on YouTube, and you know I'm the fastest man in Trackmania to update you on news, pretty much because I'm the only one, but anyway, you know where to find me, it's on Twitter and it's on YouTube. This is certainly a story to follow. This is a story that can decide the future, not only on Trackmania Grand League, but also the future of esports in Trackmania. Until then,